you go online, there seems to be a divide between two rules of thought. On one hand, we have the 10Xers who believe that hustling your way to the top is the only way to succeed. It doesn't matter if it's at the cost of your friends, your family, or even your own health. On the other hand, we have the manifestors who believe that with a simple hope and a prayer, all of your dreams can come true. Many of us, if we're being honest once again, have tried this path, sitting on a meditative state for hours while we close our eyes and envision the life in which we want to have, only to open our eyes hours later and realize we're still exactly where we started, still on the pillow. For once, there actually might be a step-by-step process to going 10X that doesn't involve going to seminars and spending thousands of dollars and screaming at the top of our lungs that we are an alpha male. I can't be the only one that, as soon as I got my first big boy job, I picked up every book that I can get my hands on to try to learn how to get the most out of my career. My boss at the time, without pause or hesitation, said I have to read 10X by Grant Cardone. Now, to be fair to Grant Cardone, which, you know, if you look online, listen, I don't think you really need to be that fair, but to be fair, there are gems in the book. But in the hands of the wrong person, me, a 20-something-year-old ambitious person into sales, I got my hands on this book, and all I get out of the book was, in order to be successful, you have to just do more. The truth is, it worked, actually, for a while. In quite some time. I climbed the ranks fast and doubled my income, and eventually went on to become a digital entrepreneur where I did the same. I grinded my way from making $0 online to over 300K. Then it hit. I looked up one day and realized I wasn't doing anything that I actually wanted to do anymore. The freedom that I actually was seeking was now officially gone. So I did the same thing any person would do in this situation, any sane individual anyway. I let go of most of my clients and people I worked with and decided to start over. At this very same time, a new book parted the clouds and came down from the heavens like the 10 Commandments, and it said, Raylen, 10X is easier than 2X. Now, the authors, unlike most of the gurus that we follow, were quietly making their millions over the last few years. These entrepreneurs, they were helping other entrepreneurs build their businesses, and the two authors are Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who wrote Personality Isn't Permanent. The other individual, Dan Sullivan, who is known for Strategic Coach, an amazing coaching program people pay $25K to be in. And everything about this book is counterintuitive to everything we know about success. The hard truth we have to come to terms with is what got us here won't get us there. Your initial thought is probably like mine. What more can I give? Do I, just grind harder? The answer is actually about doing less, not more.
Don't do anything. The less you do, the more you do. Pop up now. Stop. Get down. Get down there. Pop up. You're doing too much. Do less. Pop down.
The authors say this: 2X is doing the same thing, just only more of it. It's brute force. It's not intelligent, not transformational. It's not an upgrade in thinking. Remember the old 80-20 principle? It was popularized by this guy named Richard Koch, which, by the way, I'm ruining his last name. I'm just gonna put it out there, so correct me in the comments, I know. But Richard said it's quite simple. 80% of your outcomes, they actually can be explained by just 20% of your outputs. Richard also said this: the road to hell is paved with the pursuit of volume. Volume leads to marginal projects, marginal customers, and greatly increased managerial complexity. Hard work leads to low returns, and doing what we want leads to high returns. Strive for more excellence in a few things rather than a good performance in many. The authors tell this really great story of the creation of David by Michelangelo that illustrates exactly where we're headed perfectly. When the Pope asked about the secret genius, in particular in regard to the statue of David, Michelangelo explained, it's simple. I just removed everything that's not the David. But how do we know what to let go of? It's actually kind of simple. Make your goal 10 times more than it is today. Only when the goal is big enough does it become obvious which ideas, people, behavior simply just won't do anymore. Sometimes success, once again, is not about doing more, it's about doing less. A lot less.
Remember, don't do anything. Nothing.
If 10X was truly as easy as you say it is, why the hell isn't everyone doing it? Well, for starters, the pie fallacy. This idea that only a finite amount of wealth is available, and if one person gets a lot of it, well, it takes away from people like me and you. You can see this pretty obvious when it comes to today's billionaires, right? Everyone hates Elon and all these other types of people because in their mind, because they made it, because they're successful, that means that I cannot be. The others make it clear, wealth and money are not the same thing. And this kind of messed me up a little bit. More money doesn't actually make you more wealthy, but more wealth usually leads to more money. In the end, what holds us back is this scarcity mindset, the idea that there isn't enough room for all of us. And let's be honest here, we've all seen a piece of content from someone here on YouTube and immediately thought to ourselves, well, I can't have the same success because, they're already succeeding. The scarcity mindset comes from needing instead of wanting. The authors say, if you do anything out of perceived need or compulsion, then you don't feel it's really your choice, but rather it's a choice being made for you. You're being a victim or a byproduct of something external. We don't need more success, we just want it. We don't need more views, more sales, more money, more relationships, we just want it. Growing up in the hustle culture teaches us that we have to need success as bad as we want to breathe. And listen, I love Eric Thomas as much as the next guy, but in the end, the needing is what's actually holding us back. Okay, so we know what holds us back from transforming our lives and our businesses, but what the hell are the steps actually going 10x? It all starts with this question designed by Dan Sullivan. Who do you want to be a hero to? The idea is quite simple if we really think about it. It allows you to get really precise with who you want to serve and who you want to help. The problem is when we start our businesses or a new job, for example, we rarely think about who we want to work with. Instead, we fixated on who needs what we do. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, when I started my business, I quickly made good money, but soon burned out. Not just because of the work, but because of who I was working with. The more money we made and the faster it happened, the less time I actually spent thinking about, do we even want to work with these people? Are we attracting even the right people at all? If you have trouble with this step, finding the person you want to be a hero to, ask yourself this simple question: who would you work for free for? Next, we need to identify our unique abilities, that thing that makes us stand out in a crowded room. The authors say increasing your value involves becoming more specific and specialized in what you create for specific types of people. As you become increasingly valuable, people will pay you increasing amounts of money in exchange for your value. What I did was I highlighted all the things that I do in a day and took the 20% that came easy to me and ultimately got me in a flow state and I was excited to do. Again, if you struggle with this step, simply just think about what you would do for free. Identifying your unique ability isn't enough though. We have to develop it and protect it. There's this infamous story about Jim Carrey writing himself a $10 million check. In 1990, Jim Carrey wrote himself a $10 million check. At the time, he was a struggling, broke LA comic. He gave himself 5 years to be the type of person who ultimately could bring enough value to where he'd be worth $10 million. And in 1995, he got paid $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. For many, this is proof of manifestation is real, and if we dig deeper, we find that as a person and an actor, he transformed his skills and himself and committed fully to his 20%, and that's what led to $10 million. To truly go 10x, we can't just hustle our way to the top, and we can't sit and manifest and wait for it to come to us. We have to completely transform. And only when we make this transformation can we finally realize that maybe 10x is easier than 2x.